You'll discover something very transformative if you watch this video through to the finish. Have you ever told your family something private that you subsequently regretted? Have you ever observed how certain subjects cause miscommunication and distance rather than bringing you closer? Or perhaps you've thought that you could have avoided a lot of worry if you had kept some things to yourself. As we get older, we have a tendency to think that being open is always beneficial. We believe our relationships are strengthened when we share everything with our loved ones. However, in practice, there are some things, some secrets, that when revealed cause us to have issues rather than peace. This is something many seniors have discovered the hard way. They believed that being honest would help them, but instead it caused criticism, needless meddling, or even disputes within the family. Consider a father who freely discussed his wishes with his kids and then watched as their perspectives abruptly changed. All of a sudden, he felt as though they were more concerned with his money than with him, rather than enjoying their time together. Or think of a grandmother who, in the hopes of finding closure, admitted a prior transgression, but instead it permanently altered her family's perception of her. We learn a valuable lesson from these real struggles. Sometimes it's better to keep things quiet. We'll learn 5 secrets from sage seniors that they never tell their families in this video. This isn't because they don't trust them, but rather because keeping some things confidential might keep their peace. These are lessons gained via first-hand encounters, introspection, and occasionally excruciating errors. Before we get started, consider this. Have you ever shared something that you subsequently regretted? Have you ever regretted not disclosing specific information? Above all, are you prepared to discover the keys to leading a stress-free, tranquil life after 65? The topic of money can be difficult, particularly in families. Although it's normal to want to be honest with your loved ones, discussing your financial status excessively after the age of 65 might cause unforeseen stress, miscommunications, and even arguments. Many seniors believe that talking to their relatives about their inheritance plans, pensions, or investments will make them feel more comfortable, but in reality, it frequently has the opposite effect. Consider Mr. Thompson, a retired educator who wished to reassure his kids that he had saved a substantial amount of money for his future. He disclosed information on his investments, bank accounts, and even how he intended to divide his fortune. Being open felt fantastic at first. He quickly discovered, however, that his kids were acting as though they already owned his money. They started making insinuations, implying that he might inherit money early, and even offering advice on how much money he ought to save or spend. He felt under strain, as like he no longer had control over his financial decisions, rather than at rest. Another issue with disclosing too much about your financial situation is that it may cause your family needless anxiety. Your kids may feel pressured to assist even if they are unable to if you disclose financial difficulties. You don't want them to decrease their own spending to help you or worry about your retirement income. On the other hand, it could lead to inflated expectations if they think you're wealthy. There may be animosity or arguments if certain family members believe they don't have to help you or that they should receive a portion of your fortune. Unless it is absolutely required, it is advisable to keep financial affairs secret. Be selective if you have to talk about something. Don't reveal all of your plans or assets, just the important ones. For instance, if you have a will, leave it to your executor or a reputable lawyer. Make financial decisions with experts who are looking out for your best interests. Your peace of mind is more important than your financial security at this point in your life. It's not about controlling other people's expectations or defending your decisions. Keeping some things private gives you autonomy, control, and the freedom to conduct your life as you see fit, free from guilt, pressure, or other outside influences. Now let's discuss the next secret. Some of the changes that come with aging have an impact on our health. It's normal to want to talk about our struggles, especially with loved ones. However, excessive discussion of health issues might occasionally have the opposite effect. Constantly talking about aches, problems, and medical conditions can cause needless stress for you and your loved ones, even if being honest is crucial. For instance, Mrs. Evans. She was a strong, self-reliant woman who took great satisfaction in overcoming obstacles with poise. However, she began to have high blood pressure and joint problems after turning 70. She first told her kids everything, every new ailment, every visit to the doctor, and every concern. But as time went on, she became aware of an oddity. Her kids started to worry, asking how she was doing all the time, and occasionally even treating her like a helpless child incapable of making her own decisions. Despite never asking for assistance, her daughter once adjusted her entire schedule to take her to a routine checkup. Mrs. Evans became aware that she was unwittingly adding unnecessary stress to her family's lives by sharing too much. Talking about your health too much can also alter how other people perceive you. You might begin to be treated more like a patient, someone who requires careful handling, instead of the strong, capable person you've always been. Without you realizing it, family members may begin to make decisions for you, reducing your independence. They might encourage you to slow down, stay at home more than required, or avoid activities rather than allowing you to enjoy life. Naturally, this does not imply that you should conceal significant health issues. Asking for aid is crucial if you really need it. However, there is equilibrium. Focus on what is essential rather than providing every detail. Instead of enumerating every test and diagnosis, just state, "I have a checkup next week," if you have a doctor's appointment. Instead than focusing on all the symptoms, say, "I'm taking it easy today," if you're feeling under the weather. You keep your dignity when you defend your own story. You give your family the freedom to concentrate on spending time with you rather than worrying about you. Most significantly, you remind yourself that living is still more essential than only taking care of your health. No matter how old you are, money is a sensitive topic. However, disclosing too much about your financial status after the age of 65 can cause needless issues. Whether you live on a fixed income or have a sizable retirement fund, disclosing too much about your finances can alter relationships in unexpected ways. For instance, Mr. Anderson. He worked hard all of his life, saved wisely, and made plans for a quiet retirement. At one point, he told his son in passing that he had a healthy pension and a good quantity of savings. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary at first. But as time went on, he became aware of minor shifts. Subtle requests began to come from his son, including requests for loans, expectations that his father would pay for family meals, and even preparations for an inheritance that had not yet been discussed. Mr. Anderson eventually found himself in a difficult situation where he felt that his financial independence was eroding and wanted to support his family. Conversely, consider a parent who faces financial difficulties yet frequently confides in their kids about their concerns. Seeking emotional support is normal, but bringing up financial difficulties frequently might put your family through needless hardship. Your kids may begin to feel guilty, forced to assist, or even worried about your welfare. Even when you are still competent to handle your own affairs, they may occasionally start making financial decisions for you. Avoiding any disputes is another justification for keeping financial affairs confidential. There may occasionally be conflict or even miscommunications when family members are overly aware of your financial circumstances. Relationships that were previously founded on love might gradually shift into ones that are motivated by expectations. Siblings may quarrel over inheritance matters, and distant relatives may suddenly show interest in your riches. You can avoid needless arguments and preserve better relationships by keeping financial problems private. This does not imply that you should avoid discussing money at all. Having a trustworthy financial advisor or someone you can rely on to step in when necessary is a good idea. However, there is a distinction between making thoughtful plans and disclosing every detail. You maintain your freedom, avoid needless stress, and keep your relationships free from financial expectations when you establish healthy boundaries surrounding financial conversations. Our recollections become a combination of happiness and sadness as we age. While some situations bring back memories of past mistakes, lost opportunities, or traumatic events, others make us grin. It's normal to think back on the past, but talking about regrets with relatives too much can occasionally backfire. Take Mrs. Eleanor, a retired educator who frequently laments the lack of travel she experienced as a child. She talks to her kids about how she wishes she had chosen a different career path, taken that ideal trip, or managed some relationships more skillfully. Her family initially listens sympathetically, but eventually they begin to feel powerless. They are powerless to alter her history, and despite their best efforts to comfort her, she keeps thinking about what may have been. These regrets start to occupy their time together with melancholy and annoyance, rather than fostering deep dialogue. Another sensitive topic is expressing regret for previous parenting errors. Some parents feel bad about their choices at difficult times or about not being more there for their kids. Acknowledging faults is a good thing, but bringing them up too often might make your kids feel awkward or even angry. Even if they may have moved on, your persistent reminders make the hurt return. It causes distance rather than healing. Another common issue is regretting relationships that have ended. Dwelling on regrets won't alter the past, whether it's a family conflict that was never settled or an old acquaintance that ended badly. Seeking closure is a good idea if it's feasible, but finding inner peace is equally vital if it's not. Your family may feel overburdened with feelings they are unable to resolve if you talk about broken relationships too frequently. Although regrets might be a burden, they don't have to define who we are now. Put your attention on what can still be experienced rather than what didn't happen. It's still possible to find new interests, relationships, and happy moments. You enable yourself to move on without causing irreversible emotional harm to your loved ones by keeping regrets to yourself or communicating them in a healthy way. The topic of money is frequently delicate, particularly in families. Sharing some financial information is fine, but disclosing too much about your wealth or difficulties can occasionally lead to tension, miscommunications, or even conflict. A peaceful life requires the ability to know what to keep private and how much to reveal. Think about Mr. Thomas, a retired engineer who accumulated a decent nest egg through prudent saving. He informs his kids the precise amount of money he has in investments, savings, and real estate out of love. They initially appear pleased for him, but as time goes on, the conversations shift. Some begin making insinuations about inheritance. Some offer advice on how to spend his money, and some even believe he can assist them with their financial difficulties. What began as a straightforward information exchange develops into demands, pressure, and occasionally even arguments. However, some elderly people have financial difficulties but are reluctant to disclose them. For instance, Mrs. Linda discusses candidly her struggles with bills and growing costs. Though it causes a different kind of issue, she hopes her family will understand. Her kids start worrying excessively and feel bad if they can't assist. Discussions regarding money become stressful rather than joyful family get-togethers. It can also be difficult to talk about inheritance and wills. Some parents believe they have to justify every choice they make regarding who receives what. Clarity is crucial, yet giving too much information might lead to needless stress. Family members may fight about justice, compare, or feel entitled. Maintaining family peace and avoiding needless tension can be achieved by keeping these things confidential until they are absolutely required. Even giving liberally can result in unanticipated problems. Seniors can experience financial pressure to support family members, even if it puts a strain on their personal stability. While wanting to help is normal, it's also crucial to establish appropriate boundaries. Simply saying, "I have planned my finances carefully," suffices in place of giving precise sums. Maintaining serenity, lowering stress, and making sure your golden years are genuinely golden are the goals of protecting your financial privacy, not keeping things secret. Our top priorities as we age are frequently contentment, tranquility, and solid bonds with the people we care about. However, attaining that doesn't happen on its own. It calls for discernment, self-control, and knowing what to reveal and what to keep confidential. Our chosen secrets have nothing to do with dishonesty or mistrust. Rather, they are about preserving our emotional health, upholding dignity, and preventing needless stress. During this journey, we have witnessed how disclosing every financial detail may alter family dynamics in unexpected ways, and how oversharing personal health struggles can occasionally result in sympathy rather than true support. We have discussed the importance of keeping regrets from the past to ourselves in order to concentrate on the present, the need to limit family arguments in order to avoid needless splits, and the importance of carefully sharing our future goals in order to spare our loved ones stress and anxiety. The objective is to fortify ties so that we can live in harmony and with dignity, not to create distance. It is not selfishness to decide what to contribute. Rather, it is self-care. It's about realizing that in order to preserve love and connection, not every idea, difficulty, or plan needs to be publicly expressed. We deserve tranquility at this point in our lives. We deserve happy relationships, not ones based on duty. Above all, we should be able to live our lives in a way that prioritizes happiness over needless stress. By adopting this insight, we make room for meaningful conversations, laughter, and genuinely appreciating our family time. And that's ultimately what makes life after 65 so satisfying.